The death of loved ones, the question of unworthy successors, and the obsession with conquering forts. The last 27 years of Aurangzeb's life. The Mughal Empire witnessed its peak and decline under one of its most controversial rulers, Aurangzeb. A powerful yet feared emperor, his reign expanded the empire to its greatest extent, but also set the stage for its downfall. What led to his final days? How did his empire crumble after his death? Stay with us till the end as we unravel the fascinating yet tragic story of Aurangzeb, the last great Mughal emperor. In 1680, Aurangzeb marched south with his entire army, royal entourage, and 3 sons, never returning to Delhi. Historian Audrey Trushke describes his grand caravan of soldiers, markets, and officials as a remarkable sight. His departure left Delhi desolate, with dust accumulating on the Red Fort's walls. Loneliness in old age. Aurangzeb spent his last 3 decades in South India, personally leading many battles. A Hindu soldier, Bhimsen Saxena, noted Aurangzeb's relentless obsession with conquering forts, despite possessing immense wealth and power. His later years were far from pleasant. Historian Jagannath Sarkar describes how Aurangzeb, surrounded by envious and cowardly youth, suffered from loneliness as his close companions passed away, leaving only his old minister, Asad Khan. Unworthy heirs. At Aurangzeb's death, 3 of his sons survived, yet none were fit to rule India. In an early 18th century letter, Aurangzeb criticized his son Muazzam for failing to capture Kandahar, stating, "A useless son is worse than a daughter." He scolded him, asking how he would face his rivals and God. Historian Munis Faruqi argues that Aurangzeb himself weakened his sons by interfering in their personal lives. Audrey Trushke notes that by 1700, Aurangzeb favored his grandsons over his sons, further diminishing their power. In one instance, his minister Asad Khan and military commander Zulfikar Khan arrested Aurangzeb's youngest son, Kam Baksh, for attempting unauthorized contact with Maratha ruler Raja Ram, son of Shivaji and half-brother of Sambhaji. The death of loved ones. Aurangzeb's old age was marked by increasing hardships. His daughter-in-law, Jahan Zeb Bano, passed away in Gujarat in March 1705. His rebellious son, Akbar Sao, had already died in Iran in 1704. Earlier, in 1702, his poetess daughter, Zeb-un-Nisa, also passed away. Soon after, his only surviving sibling, Gauhar Ara, died as well. Aurangzeb was deeply affected by these losses and remarked, "Among Shah Jahan's children, only she and I remained." His troubles continued. His daughter Mero Nisa and son-in-law Izad Baksh died in Delhi in 1706. Shortly before his own death, his grandson Buland Akhtar also passed away. His courtiers kept the deaths of 2 other grandsons from him, fearing the grief would be too much to bear. Famine and plague. During this time, severe drought in the south worsened Aurangzeb's struggles. Italian traveler Niccolao Manucci, in his book Storia do Magor, noted that from 1702 to 1704, there was no rain in the south, and a plague outbreak followed. Over 2 million people perished within 2 years. Starving parents tried selling their children for a few coins, but there were no buyers. The dead were buried like livestock. Their bodies were searched for money before being dragged by their feet into mass graves. Manucci described the unbearable stench, an explosion of flies and barren lands where only human and animal bones remained. Entire regions were depopulated. Travelers would go days without seeing a single light or fire. Udaipuri remained with Aurangzeb until the end. In his final days, Aurangzeb preferred the company of Udaipuri, the mother of his youngest son, Kam Baksh. In his deathbed letter to Kam Baksh, he wrote that Udaipuri had never left his side, even during illness, and would stay with him in death as well. This proved true. Within a few months of Aurangzeb's passing, Udaipuri also died. Rebellion in the north. In the end, Aurangzeb camped in Ahmednagar. Stanley Lane Poole, in his book Aurangzeb and the Decay of the Mughal Empire, writes that Aurangzeb's prolonged absence led to chaos in the north. The Rajputs openly rebelled. The Jats near Agra rose up, and the Sikhs around Multan also challenged Mughal authority. The morale of the Mughal army weakened, and even the Marathas launched secret attacks on the empire. Fearing betrayal, Aurangzeb sent all his sons away, worried that they might treat him as he had treated his father, Shah Jahan. Historian Abraham Airlie, in the story of India's great Mughal emperors, states that Aurangzeb's territorial expansion weakened rather than strengthened the empire. The empire became so vast that governance became impossible. Even Aurangzeb himself admitted that disorder would follow his death. Aurangzeb's illness. Apart from these issues, Aurangzeb's biggest concern was his successor. Manucci writes that the contenders for the throne included the emperor's sons, who were already old, his grandsons, some of whom were over 45 with white beards, and even his younger grandsons, who were around 25-27 years old. Only one could claim power, while the rest would either be executed or mutilated. In 1705, after capturing the Maratha fort of Wajinjera, Aurangzeb camped near the Krishna River to allow his army to rest. It was here that he fell ill. In October of the same year, he intended to return to Delhi but instead moved toward Ahmednagar. This would be his final stop. On January 14, 1707, the 89-year-old emperor fell seriously ill again. He recovered slightly within a few days and resumed court sessions, but he soon realized that he did not have much time left. His son Azam's growing impatience became a source of worry for him. Letter to his sons. Jadunath Sarkar writes that 4 days after appointing Azam as the governor of Malwa, Aurangzeb developed a high fever. Despite his illness, he insisted on holding court and performing prayers 5 times a day. In his final days, he wrote letters to his sons, urging them to avoid conflict, but he foresaw bloodshed after his passing. He prayed that they would govern wisely and serve their people. Aurangzeb's last wish. He wished for his final day to be a Friday. On his last morning, he prayed and counted prayer beads. As he grew weaker, he continued his prayers until he passed away on a Friday, fulfilling his wish. Before his death, he requested a simple burial without a coffin. 2 days later, Azam arrived, consoled his sister Zinat-un-Nisa, and moved their father's body. Aurangzeb was laid to rest in Kuldabad near Daulatabad, beside the Sufi saint Sheikh Zainuddin. Conflict between Aurangzeb's sons. Aurangzeb had named Shah Alam Muazzam, then governor of Punjab, as his successor. However, Azam rushed to claim the throne and marched toward Agra. Meanwhile, Shah Alam also advanced toward Agra, arriving first and receiving a grand welcome. Their armies clashed at Jajau, the same battlefield where Aurangzeb had once fought Dara Shikoh. In the end, Shah Alam emerged victorious and ascended the throne on June 20, 1707. Decline of the Mughal Empire. Defeated, Azam Shah committed suicide before being captured by his brother, Shah Alam. Shah Alam himself died in 1712, 5 years after Aurangzeb's death. Between 1712 and 1719, 4 Mughal emperors ruled in rapid succession, whereas only 4 emperors had ruled over the previous 150 years. Jadunath Sarkar noted that despite Aurangzeb's achievements, he failed politically. While his actions alone didn't cause the empire's decline, he did little to prevent it. The Mughal Empire eventually ended in 1857 with Bahadur Shah Zafar.